up everyone! So continuing the Cannes Film Festival coverage, today's movie I'm discussing on the channel is the latest film from Aster called Eddington. This was probably my most anticipated title from the entire Cannes Film Festival program this year. I was so excited for Aster. It was great to finally see him have a film of his go to the Cannes Film Festival because I think he is a fantastic filmmaker who tells very entertaining and challenging stories, and yeah, his films always felt like they were ripe for a Cannes Film Festival slot. But yeah, it's taken 4 movies for him to finally, show up at the Cannes Film Festival. I was also very excited for this film because the cast was stacked. Okay, you got Joaquin, Pedro, Pascal, Emma Stone, Austin Butler, and Michael Ward. And with Aster films, they're also quite original. Okay, he's always coming up with original ideas, and this film Eddington was sort of pitched as a COVID Western, which sounded very interesting to me. I was like, all right, I'm down for whatever. And I know that a lot of you guys are excited to hear my thoughts on Eddington, but it gives me no pleasure to say that I was kind of disappointed by Eddington. And it's not easy for me to say that because I am a fan of Ari Aster's work and I defended his previous film, Though I Was Afraid. I know not everybody liked that, but yeah, I was going in cautiously optimistic to Eddington, but sadly, I just came out of it feeling very unsatisfied. It's not unwatchable. Okay, there are entertaining moments for sure, but overall, it definitely feels less than a sum of its parts, this movie. Set in May 2020 in Eddington, New Mexico, the story follows the hostile relationship between the town's sheriff, Joe Cross, who's played by Joaquin, and the town's mayor, Teddy Garcia, who's played by Pedro Pascal. The pandemic is in full swing, people are social distancing, they're wearing masks, but Joe, the sheriff, is asthmatic and doesn't like having to wear a mask, and also doesn't really think COVID is much of a threat because it hasn't really reached Eddington yet. And the mayor, Teddy Garcia, who's kind of like the town's liberal golden boy, challenges Joe on his authority not wearing a mask, and there's a lot of beef there between each other. So their whole dynamic is very much a thinly veiled allegory for the right versus the left. They are two bulls, clashing horns, and it's basically a metaphor for the polarization of America. So Joe decides he's gonna run for office, kick Ted out of the position of mayor, and he can become mayor, and he'll be in power and can decide what's best for Eddington. And that's all the plot that I'm gonna give you, because there is more plot in this film, but I don't want to spoil this for anyone that wants to go watch it. But what I will say is there is a lot more going on in this film. Eddington is 2.5 hours, and every 30 minutes kind of feels like a different movie altogether, because it starts off as the COVID Western, if you will, and then it becomes this whole political rivalry comedy between Joe and Ted. Then it becomes a sort of Coen Brothers crime thriller. Then it becomes an over-the-top action Western like The Searchers. And the ending is sort of packaged up as satire, but it's satire that's saying very little about a lot of subjects, because this film addresses so many different ideas. Okay, it's about power, police corruption, politics, racial and economic inequality, misinformation, gun control, and privilege. So Eddington is like a pressure cooker of all those ideas. But the thing is, it doesn't really excavate any of these ideas with much depth, and maybe that was what Ari Aster was going for, throwing all these buzzwords in that we're all sort of familiar with, but not everyone has a full comprehension of, and we're all trying to grapple with these ideas in a post-COVID world. But as the last act of this film descends more into this absurd, over-the-top, cartoony action film, I was left wondering, what am I supposed to be taking away from this? And I guess in a nutshell, what Ari Aster is trying to say is that the American political climate right now is bat crap crazy, okay? We're all divided, everything's very heated and polarized, everyone's just mad at each other. So while there's no doubt that Ari Aster had a lot that he wanted to say with this film, my issue with it was that he's kind of saying too much and not really enough about the things that he wants to talk about, and it all just kind of comes across a bit incoherent. But I am very curious to find out how actual Americans respond to this film, because bear in mind, I'm not American, even though I may sound like it from time to time on the channel. But I'm not saturated in the current turmoil which is post-COVID America, especially now with Trump being re-elected again. But besides what I've gleaned from the news and what I've heard from my friends who are based in America, I personally don't know how bad it all is in America right now. But perhaps to Americans who end up watching this film, they might identify and resonate with all the bonkers banana stuff that happens in this film because it is reflective of the pandemonium that they are currently living in right now. So I do acknowledge that I might not be who this movie is intended for, but I still think there will be a lot of casual moviegoers that hate this film, kind of like Beau is Afraid. And remember, I'm a defender of Beau is Afraid. I feel like I'm being very negative with this review, but I will say the film does have some redeeming qualities, like the performances for one. Like, Joaquin Phoenix gives another fantastic performance in this, although I will say, I think I enjoyed his character a lot more in the first half of this film, more than I did the second half, because the first half of the film, where it's established that he's a law enforcer whose very ideology and attitude towards the COVID pandemic is very antithetical to his position of power. So there was a lot of like gray area for him to work there. That was interesting. But then there's a certain point in this film where Ari Aster, needs him to be something else for the story. And it just kind of like reduces him to, a one-dimensional character for the remainder of the film. But yeah, still, I won't deny that Joaquin Phoenix delivers a terrific performance in this. Pedro Pascal was also really good in this, but what do you expect? He's Pedro Pascal, he's always reliable. And I also enjoyed Michael Ward's performance as well, but as for Emma Stone and Austin Butler, they are wasted in this film. It felt like any up-and-coming actress could have played the role of Joe's wife, Lou, which is the role that Emma Stone plays, and Emma Stone is fine in this. But did she make the role her own? Not really. It's just weird when you've got a two-time Best Actress Oscar winner in a film where she's just kind of there. And Austin Butler has about 3 scenes in this, and granted, he is good in those scenes, but I just wanted more. And I will say about Ari Aster's script, he does have balls because he's coming after everybody in this film, okay? The right, the left, everyone in between, okay? No one is safe from scrutiny in this film. So at the very least, it's not like he's picking a side and spewing his own personal propaganda at the audience, okay? He's pretty much just saying that everyone's at fault on both sides, and yeah, we're all culpable. Some of you might be wondering, does Eddington have a shot of getting some Oscar nominations? Sadly not. I was kind of hoping, when it was announced as part of the Cannes lineup, that maybe it might have a chance to, finally get Ari Aster some recognition. But the thing is, the Academy don't go for Ari Aster's films, sadly. They didn't go for Beau is Afraid at all. But yeah, Toni Collette was also egregiously snubbed for a Best Actress nomination for Hereditary, and Florence Pugh had also been worthy in my eyes for Best Actress nom. But yeah, I don't see any of the performances from Eddington getting any kind of traction over award season. It's not that the performances aren't good or worthy of nominations, it's more that the film overall, I don't think is going to have mass support in order to, net performances nominations, sadly, so no. But yeah, if you guys think I'm wrong and think it might show up in some Oscars categories, do let me know in the comment section down below which ones you think it could show up for. Alright then, shall we ask them 3 questions? Firstly, would I watch this again? I think I would someday. I'm not in a rush to rewatch it, but I do think it's a film that would benefit from a second viewing because I've literally just watched this yesterday, and this is my knee-jerk reaction to the film. Sometimes with a film like this, you really need some digestion, and I think maybe after a few weeks and months, I'll feel differently about it, and a second watch might actually help me to like it more. But yeah, I can only give you my honest opinion as of how I'm feeling right now. And so while I do think I will give it a rewatch someday, I'm not going to be in a rush to rewatch it. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? If you like Ari Aster's work, definitely give it a go. Again, Joaquin Phoenix is really good in this. But it's a very provocative film, and I think a lot of people are going to hate it. And with a runtime of 2.5 hours, I think a lot of people will find it testing. But the thing is, here in Cannes, I've heard reactions all over the spectrum for Eddington, okay? I've met some people that really, really loved it, and I've also met a lot of people that really hated it. So yeah, the film, like the subject matter of the film, is going to be polarizing, okay? So if you want to find out for yourself where you fall, the best way to do that is by watching it. So I do recommend it, but yeah, just don't go in expecting like Midsommar or Hereditary levels of greatness from Ari Aster. All right, question 3. What score to give out of 10? It kind of breaks my heart to say that this is, without question, my least favorite Ari Aster film to date. While I do admire the mishmash of genres that he's, put together, I don't think it's very cohesive or coherent, and that the satire in this is just a bit surface level. And while I admire it for being an original idea, and it does have its fun moments, it just didn't all add up to a satisfying whole. So I'm gonna give Eddington a score of 4 out of 10. But as always, guys, it is just my bloke's opinion. Love to hear your thoughts on Eddington. Are you excited to watch it? Have you seen it? If you have, what do you make of it? How does it rank for you in Ari Aster's filmography? What do you have to say? Let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. If you guys want more Cannes Film Festival coverage, be sure to click that subscribe button and be sure to follow us on all the socials for my reactions and whatnot. You can find those links to all my socials in the video description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Lukehearfield, and I'll see you next time. Bye!